Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today. You remember the last time we had done the poem Life. Okay, now we just did the reading of the poem and the explanation of the poem last time. Now we have a 15-minute slot today also, and let us make use of that slot in order to learn certain language study and you can say figures of speech in this particular poem. Now when we talked about the lesson, I always tell you that when we are doing a lesson through such formats, it is very difficult to complete the lesson in one go. Okay, so like I told you last time, we will do the reading of the lesson, the summary of the story, etc. in the first part, and then we will go and do the grammar part in the next session. So this is the second session for lesson 1 today. So let us start by looking at what all grammar points or what all language study points are there in our lesson. So we have this particular language study point called as rhetorical questions. Along with this, if you have your English textbooks with you, you can open it, you can come to page number 4. You will see that there are certain points in figures of speech also which are used, which are shown in this particular lesson. We will do that also later. Let us first start with trying to understand this particular language point, which is rhetorical questions. So what are rhetorical questions, children? Rhetorical questions are a type of questions, you can say. Okay, and what are questions? We have been learning since we were very young, isn't it? So we have 4 kind of sentences we have learned. We have assertive sentences, we have exclamatory sentences, and one of the type of sentences is an interrogative sentence. So an interrogative sentence is a sentence where we want some information. We make use of the sentence when we want some information from someone else. And when we have an interrogative sentence, it is always ends with a question mark. All right. So now rhetorical questions are a little different from our ordinary interrogative sentence or our ordinary questions. There is just one similarity here, that in a rhetorical question also we make use of question marks. So let us see how a rhetorical question is similar to our question and how it is different, and what is the meaning of a rhetorical question. So in these 3 points, we will be able to understand what a rhetorical question is. So when a question is posed to make a point and not because you want an answer. So there are certain situations where you want to make a point. You do not want an answer. All right. And why do you not want an answer? Let's go to point number 2. Because the answer is obvious and it does not need to be stated. Okay. So you are asking a question. That is the way you are toning your sentence. You are asking a question, but you do not want the answer to the question. Your question itself is the answer. Then why do you ask such rhetorical questions when I don't want an answer? Why am I asking this question? You're asking it to create a stronger effect. Okay, you want to create a better, a stronger effect. And sometimes, you do not want to say things directly. Sometimes you want to be a little diplomatic. You do not want to say things directly. And at those times also we make use of a rhetorical question. So let us look at some examples, children, of rhetorical questions here. So how could you? The first question, see, how could you? That means you should not have done this. How could you do this? So that is, I'm telling you that you should not have done this. But the way I am telling you this is in the form of a question. Is this a joke? Are you crazy? Why is this happening to me? Who cares? Does money grow on trees? So all these questions you will see that they answer themselves. So when I say, is this a joke? I want to say that this is not a joke. Please understand that this is not a joke. Okay. So in the same way, you can, when you read all the sentences and try to derive the meaning from this, it means that these sentences are giving their own answers. Okay. These rhetorical questions are answering themselves. There is no need for you to expect that the other person will answer you. So these are rhetorical questions. We will look at some more examples of a rhetorical question, or we will look at some exercises of a rhetorical question. So look at this. Which of the following questions would be considered rhetorical? So what do you think? Look at the four options given to you. Can you do me a favor? Are you really that stupid? What is the weather like? Why are you sad? So when I look at analyze each one of them, can you do me a favor? When I ask this to someone, I expect that person to answer in yes or in no. Right? When I say, are you really that stupid? That means I think or I believe that that person is really stupid. What is the weather like? Here also I'm expecting an answer. Maybe I'm planning to go somewhere and I want to know whether it is the right time to go or not. And why are you sad? Here I'm asking for a reason. Okay, so after knowing and after reading and after trying to understand these four sentences, what do you think? Which could be the rhetorical question? Yes, it is question number 2, which is the rhetorical question. Okay, so simple. Let's come to one more example. Which of the following questions would be considered rhetorical? There's no point, is there? Which is the capital of Punjab? What is the staple food of people in coastal areas? Is there a grocery store down the street? Again, analyze them. Let's come from point number 4 to point number 1. Is there a grocery store down the street? So I expect an answer in yes or no. What is the staple food of people in the coastal areas? I expect a descriptive answer. Which is the capital of Punjab? I expect the fact to be stated. There's no point, is there? What am I doing? I am answering myself that there is no point. So children, which is the rhetorical question among these four? It is question number 1 or answer number 1. Okay, so these are some examples of rhetorical question. We have already done this in the lower classes. Okay, so this was one kind of a brush up for you, and remember we have a time constraint over here, so we will not dwell too much on one particular point. Let's go to the next part of our lesson now. We are going to talk about figures of speech. So figures of speech are a tool of English language which are used especially in poems. Okay, it is a part of learning poetry. So there are various figures of speech. Let us look at a few of them. There are some which are supposed to be studied as part of this lesson, so we will look at them only today. But as an overview, let us try and understand what are the various figures of speech in English. So you have simile, metaphor, personification, apostrophe, metonymy, we have synecdoche, we have onomatopoeia, we have alliteration, assonance and pun. There are many more also, but at the school level, we learn all these. And today we will talk about metaphor and we will talk about personification. Okay? So come on, let's go without wasting time directly to our first point over here. So metaphor. So what is a metaphor? When you compare two things, but you do not use words like or as, but you say that one thing is the other. You directly state that one thing is the other. Then it is a metaphor. For example, look at the sentence here. The apple is green. The apple is a little green sun, bright and round. So you are comparing apple to the sun. You are saying that the apple is the sun. Okay. And then in the second example, apples are nature's candy. Candy means chocolates. Okay. So here are examples of metaphor. Now metaphor, simile, these are all the basic figures of speech which we have been learning since the 6th and the 7th standards. Some more example of a metaphor. A comparison in which one thing is said to be another. Look at the example. She is a walking dictionary. So how could she be a walking dictionary? Is it possible for a person to be a walking dictionary? Not literally, but in a way, yes, if a person has got a lot of knowledge about words, okay, and the use of words, if the vocabulary of a person is very good, then you could sometimes state that the person is a walking dictionary. So it is a case of metaphor. All right. Now let's go ahead and watch a small clip about what metaphors are, in which you will see various examples of metaphors. So let's do that before we proceed with the lesson. So children, that was metaphor for you. Now let's look at the second figure of speech for today quickly. Personification. So what is personification? When you give human qualities to animals or objects, then it is an example of personification. Now human beings have certain unique qualities. We can sing, okay, we can laugh, we can speak, but animals and objects, inanimate things, they cannot do all this. But when you give these human qualities to either animals or objects, then it is called as personification. There is one example here on the screen for you. The stars winked at me. Okay, so winking means making a movement with your eye. So the stars don't have eyes. So can they wink? The answer is no. So this is an example of personification. See, there are some more examples. The car danced. Okay, the angry clouds marched. Now the clouds do not have any kind of emotions. They cannot be angry. The stars in the clear sky winked at me. Again, we saw the star winking example in the previous slide. The tulips nodded their heads. Now tulips don't have heads. Okay, flowers don't have heads. But they are saying that they nodded their heads. And nodding is also a movement which is, you can say, unique to animals and human beings. So here, these are all examples of personification.
So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.